Set your mother on the ass, and let her go with you. I know, my son, that you came for my sake, and let this day be blessed on which you have seen me alive. And I also have seen you, my son. Prosper, and perform the vow which you made, and do not delay your vow, because the vow will be sought. And now hasten to do it, and may the one who created everything, to whom you vowed the vow, be pleased. And he said to Rebekah, Go with Jacob your son. And Rebekah went with Jacob her son. And Deborah was with her, and they reached Bethel. And Jacob remembered the prayer with which his father blessed him and his 2 sons, Levi and Judah. And he rejoiced, and he blessed the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac. And he said, Now I know that I and my sons have an eternal hope before the God of all. And thus it is ordained concerning the 2 of them. And it has been written on high for them as an eternal testimony in the heavenly tablets, just as Isaac blessed them. And he stayed that night in Bethel. And Levi dreamed that he had been appointed an ordained priest of the Most High God, and he and his sons forever. And he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Lord. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of that month, and he gave a tenth of everything which came with him, man and beast, gold, and all sorts of vessels and clothes. And he gave a tenth of everything. And in those days Rachel conceived Benjamin her son, and Jacob counted his sons from him and upward. And the lot of Levi fell with the portion of the Lord. And his father put garments of the priesthood upon him, and he filled his hands. And on the 15th of this month he brought to the altar 14 bulls from the herd, and 28 rams, and 49 sheep, and 7 lambs, and 21 kids of the goats, as a burnt offering upon the altar of sacrifices, well and pleasing for a sweet-smelling aroma before God. This was his offering from the vow which he made to tithe together with their fruit offerings and their libations. And when the fire consumed it, he burnt incense upon the fire above it, and for a thank offering 2 bulls, and 4 rams, and 4 sheep, and 4 he-goats, and 2 lambs, each a year old, and 2 kids of the goats. Thus he did at dawn for 7 days. And it happened, as he and all his sons and his men ate there joyfully for 7 days, that he blessed and praised the Lord, the one who delivered him from all his affliction, and who granted him his prayers. And he gave a tithe of every clean animal, and he made a burnt offering. But the unclean animals he did not give to Levi his son, but every human soul he gave to him. And Levi served as priest in Bethel before Jacob his father, apart from his 10 brothers. And he was a priest there, and Jacob gave his vow. Thus he tithed the second tithe to the Lord, and he sanctioned it, and it was sanctioned to him. And therefore it is decreed in the heavenly tablets as a law to tithe the tithe again, in order to eat it before the Lord from year to year, in the place where it is determined that his name shall dwell. And there is no limit of days to this law forever. This ordinance is written to observe it year after year, to eat the second tithe before the Lord in the place where it is determined. And there is not to be anything left over from it from this year to year which is to come. For in its year the grain will be eaten until the days of the harvest of the grain of the year, and the wine will be drunk until the days of the wine, and the olive will be used until the day of its season, and everything which is left over from it and grows old will be unclean. Let it be burned in the fire, because it has become impure. And thus they shall eat it together in the sanctuary, and they shall not let it become old. And the whole tithe of oxen and sheep is holy to the Lord, and it will belong to the priest, who will eat it before him year after year, because it is so ordered and engraved on the heavenly tablets concerning the tithe. And in the second night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob planned to build up that place, and to build a wall around the court, and to sanctify it, and to make it eternally holy for himself and his sons after him. And the Lord appeared to him in the night, and blessed him, and said to him, Your name will not be called Jacob, but you will be named Israel. And he said to him again, I am the Lord who created heaven and earth, and I shall increase you and multiply you very much. And there will be kings from you, and they will rule everywhere that the tracks of mankind have been trod. And I shall give to your seed all of the land under heaven, and they will rule in all nations as they have desired. And after all of this, the earth will be gathered together, and they will inherit it forever. And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him. And Jacob watched until he went up into heaven, and he saw in a vision of the night, and behold, an angel was descending from heaven, and there were 7 tablets in his hands, and he gave them to Jacob, and he read them. And he knew everything which was written in them, which would happen to him and to his sons during all the ages. And he showed him everything which was written on the tablets, and he said to him, Do not build this place, and do not make an eternal sanctuary, and do not dwell here, because this is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham your father, and dwell with Isaac your father, until the day of your father's death, because you will die peacefully in Egypt, and you will be buried honorably in this land, in the tomb of your fathers, with Abraham and Isaac. Do not fear, because just as you have seen and read, thus will everything come to pass. But you write down everything just as you have seen and read it. And Jacob said, O Lord, how will I remember everything that I read and saw? And he said to him, I will cause you to remember everything. And he went up from him, and he woke up from his sleep, and he recalled everything that he had read and seen, and he wrote down all of the matters which he had read and seen. And he observed there yet one more day, and he sacrificed in it according to everything which he had been sacrificing on the previous days. And he called it addition, because that day was added, but the previous day he called the feast. And thus it was revealed that it should be, and as it is written in the heavenly tablets. Therefore it was revealed to him that he might observe it and add it to the 7 days of the feast. And it was called addition, because it is written on high in the attestation of feast days according to the number of the days of the year. And on the night of the 23rd of that month, Deborah, the nurse of Rebekah, died, and she was buried south of the city under the oak at the river. And that place was called Deborah's river, and the oak was called the oak of sorrow for Deborah. And Rebekah went and returned to her house. To his father Isaac, and Jacob sent in her hands rams and sheep and he-goats, so that she might make for his father a meal such as he desired. And he traveled after his mother until he approached the land of Cabratan, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bore a son in the night, and called him, Son of my sorrow, because she suffered when she bore him. But his father called him Benjamin, on the 11th of the 8th month, in the 1st year of the 6th week of that Jubilee. And Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephratah, Bethlehem. And Jacob built a pillar on the tomb of Rachel, on the road above her tomb. And Jacob went and dwelt toward the south of Migdal-Eph. And he and Leah his wife went to his father Isaac on the new moon of the 10th month. And Reuben saw Bilhah, the attendant of Rachel and his father's concubine, washing in the water privately, and he desired her. And hiding at night, he entered Bilhah's house at night, and found her sleeping in her bed, alone in her house. And he lay with her, and she woke up and looked, and behold, Reuben was lying with her on the bed. And she uncovered the hem of her skirt, and seized him, and screamed, and recognized that it was Reuben. And she was ashamed because of him, and released her hand from upon him, and he fled. And she lamented greatly concerning this matter, and she did not tell anyone at all. And when Jacob came and sought her, she said to him, I am not clean for you, since I have become polluted for you, because Reuben has defiled me, and lay with me at night. But I was sleeping, and I was unaware until he had uncovered my skirt, and lain with me. And Jacob was very angry with Reuben, because he had lain with Bilhah, for he had uncovered his father's robe. And therefore Jacob did not draw near to her, since Reuben had defiled her. And the deed of any man who uncovers his father's robe is very evil, because he is despicable before the Lord. Therefore it is written and ordered in the heavenly tablets, that a man should not lie with his father's wife, and he should not uncover his father's robe, because that is defilement. They shall certainly die together, the man who lies with his father's wife, also the wife, because they have made a defilement upon the earth. And there shall be no defilement before our God among the people whom he has chosen for himself as a possession. And again it is written a second time, Let anyone who lies with his father's wife be cursed, because he has uncovered his father's shame. And all of the holy ones of the Lord said, So let it be, so be it. And you, Moses, command the children of Israel, and let them keep this word, because it is a judgment worthy of death, and it is a defilement, And there is no forgiveness in order to atone for a man who has done this forever, but only to execute him and kill him and stone him, and to uproot him from the midst of the people of our God. For any man who does this in Israel should not have life for a single day upon the earth, because he is despicable and polluted. And let them not say, Reuben had life and forgiveness after he lay with his father's concubine, and while she had a husband, and while her husband Jacob his father was alive. For the ordinance and judgment of the law had not been revealed till then, as completed for everyone. But in your days it is like the law of appointed times and days, and an eternal law for everlasting generations. And this law has no consummation of days, and also there is no forgiveness for it, but only that both of them should be uprooted from the midst of the people. On the day when they have done this, they shall be killed. And you, Moses, write for Israel, and let them keep this, and let them do according to these words, and let them not commit a sin worthy of death, because the Lord our God is a judge who does not accept persons or gifts. And say to them these words of the ordinance, that they might hear and guard and watch themselves concerning them, and they will not be destroyed or uprooted from the earth. For defiled and an abomination and blemished and polluted are all who do them upon the earth before our God. And there is no sin greater than the fornication which they commit upon the earth, because Israel is a holy nation to the Lord his God, and a nation of inheritance, and a nation of priests, and a royal nation, and a special possession. And there is nothing which appears which is as defiled as this among the holy people. And in the 3rd year of this 6th week it came to pass, as Jacob and all his sons were traveling, that they dwelt at the house of Abraham near Isaac his father, and Rebekah his mother. And these are the names of the children of Jacob: his firstborn, Reuben, and Simeon, and Levi, and Judah, and Issachar, and Zebulun, the sons of Leah. And the sons of Rachel are Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah are Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah are Gad and Asher. And Dinah is the daughter of Leah, the only daughter of Jacob. And when they came, they bowed down to Rebekah and Isaac. And when they saw them, they blessed Jacob and all of his sons. And Isaac rejoiced greatly, because he saw the sons of Jacob, his younger son, and he blessed them. And in the 6th year of this week, from the 44th Jubilee, Jacob sent his sons with their servants to pasture their sheep in the field of Shechem. And while hiding themselves under the trees, 7 kings of the Amorites assembled themselves to fight against them and to plunder their animals. And Jacob and Levi and Judah and Joseph were at home with Isaac their father, because his soul grieved him, and they were unable to leave him. And Benjamin was the youngest, and therefore he dwelt with his father. And the kings of Taphu, and the kings of Aresa, and the kings of Seragan, and the kings of Silo, and the kings of Gaas, and the kings of Bethron, and the king of Maanisakar, and all those who dwelt in that mountain, who dwelt in the woods, the land of Canaan, came. And they reported it to Jacob, saying that, Behold, the kings of the Amorites have surrounded your sons, and they have plundered their herds. And he and his 3 sons, and all of his father's servants, and his servants arose from his house, and went against them with 6,000 men, who carried swords. And he killed them in the field of Shechem. And he pursued those who fled, and killed them with the edge of the sword. And he killed Aresa, and Taphu, and Seragain, and Selo, and Manasseh-Kar, and Galas, and he collected his herds, and he prevailed over them, and decreed a tribute against them, so that they might give a tribute of 5 of the fruits of their land. And he built Robel and Tamnatares, and he returned peacefully, and he made peace with them, and they became servants to him, until the day he and his sons went down into Egypt. And in the 7th year of this week he sent Joseph from his house to the land of Shechem, in order that he might know about the welfare of his brothers. And he found them in the land of Dothan, and they acted fraudulently, and made a plot against him to kill him. But they repented, and sold him to a band of Ishmaelites. And they took him down to Egypt, and sold him to Potiphar, a eunuch of Pharaoh, to the chief guard, the priest of the city of Heliopolis. And the sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid, and dipped Joseph's garment into the blood, and sent it to Jacob, their father, on the 10th of the 7th month. And he lamented all of that night, because they had brought it to him in the evening.